I started my crafting journey when I was looking all over YouTube, really just to find out how to flip a piece of furniture that I had in my room, my bedroom. I had gotten this beautiful set, a dresser and a nightstand from my brother-in-law years ago, and it was just outdated as far as the color. And all I wanted to do was paint it. That sent me down a spiral of wonderful videos created by a million different content creators, not maybe not a million, but a lot. And I ended up starting to fall in love with crafting myself. So I'm telling you all this because I then wanted to find the perfect paint, or I wanted to figure out what would be the best paint, not only for furniture, but if I wanted to do like smaller projects. I ended up exploring a wide variety of different paints. And in today's video, I'm going to give you a review of 10 brands that I've tried over the last year or 2 years and let you know kind of my personal opinion and give you some tips and tricks to think about when you're picking paint. I'm not a stockist. I do not have any affiliate links for any of these paint brands. I am just trying to provide information to you that I would have loved to have all in one place when I started this journey. There are three things that I'm going to focus on in today's video: the quality, price, and ease of use for each of the paints that I am going to talk to you about. First up is Apple Barrel Paint. This paint is a popular brand of acrylic craft paint, widely known for its affordability, versatility, and user-friendliness. It is first on the list because it is perfect for somebody new to crafting, as it is very budget friendly. A 16-ounce container of this paint is about $5, and you can get 2-ounce little tester colors for as little as 50 cents. I will typically choose this type of paint for the background when I'm doing decoupage or for smaller crafts like ornaments, things that I do for things like my craft fair. I would not choose Apple Barrel Paint for anything that I'm expecting a lot of durability on. For example, like furniture or home decor that might get a lot of traffic, like functional home decor. I would not choose this type of paint for that. Next up is Folk Art Paint. Now, this paint would be something that I never would have really thought about, except for the fact that the paint that I typically saw a lot of crafters that I followed use, I couldn't find it on Amazon, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I ended up finding this, and this looked very similar, so I ordered it. I ended up ordering a 32-ounce container of this Folk Art paint, and without knowing it, my husband used this paint to paint our bathroom cabinets in our downstairs bathroom. I cannot believe the coverage that it provided. I'm truly impressed that it has sustained itself for over a year. It's been a year and a half now without any other sealer or anything else. A 16-ounce container of this paint averages around $15. There are places that you can buy it for a little more, a little less, depending on the color and where you're purchasing from. Like me, and you love to test out different colors, here's a great deal from Mike. 12 colors, 8 ounces each, for about $6.66 a bottle. I learned about maybe a year into crafting that Waverly Paint is actually very similar to Folk Art Paint. I think they're almost the exact same paint. It's just that Waverly is a product specifically sold by Walmart, or exclusively sold by Walmart, whereas Folk Art can be found on Amazon, in like craft stores like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and other places like that. So that was definitely something new for me. They both have their own lines of colors, which are similar but not the same. So sometimes the color you're choosing for your project may be the way you go as far as which brand you're going to choose between Waverly and Folk Art. Pricing is similar. It is a little bit cheaper to get Waverly. It is $12.47 for a 16-ounce container of paint. And next we have DecoArt's Americana paint, another chalk paint with a very matte finish. This is also an acrylic paint, and it offers a variety of colors. And as far as pricing goes, it's going to look very similar to the other two paints we just looked at. All right, one thing you'll notice with this paint is it's very, very thick. There is a recommendation that if you ever wanted to thin it down, all you have to do is add some water, which is what I'm going to do now. Probably need more than a little spritzer, and the other thing I wanted to try was to see how the colors would mix. So I have this brown paint in the Americana brand. And then I have white. Those are the only two colors that I have of this brand. I'm not as familiar with it. I bought it originally based on a recommendation from Courtney at Create 'em on the Cheap to make a gingerbread. I do envision this paint being more of a mixing paint for me, especially the white, versus being something I use on its own. I will show you something I did paint in that white. This has the two coats on it, but you can see there's still some bleed through. So not necessarily my paint of choice for these types of projects. I like the ones that kind of help cover some of that potential bleed through. Now that we've got a good color and a good consistency, it's very thick, which is a good thing. My suggestion for any of the budget-friendly paints is to choose a color that is not as light. It allows the better coverage that you're looking for, but the actual quality of the paint going on is excellent. Rust-Oleum paint was probably one of the first chalk paints that I had tried after watching some of my YouTubers that I was following earlier on. Some of the key features of this paint is it has a very matte finish, just like the last couple that we have tried, but it does go on to surfaces with a little bit more durability, especially once sealed. It is very quick drying, and it has this ease of distressing. So you can do some sand distressing to create the more weathered or like antique vintagey kind of look, which is something that I kind of started to fall in love with as I became more and more of a DIYer. There are a wide variety of paints within this brand. I have used the spray paints quite often for my projects, mainly as the first coat or the base coat before I use another type of chalk paint on top to achieve that kind of like layered paint look. This is when we start to get into those pricier brands. However, when you consider the fact that this is a 32-ounce container, you cut that in half and put it equivalent to the container sizes that we have in the other lines, and it's $13. It's about the same. I have used this with my paint sprayer, and it is amazing how nicely it covers. Rust-Oleum chalk paint has also been my go-to for any of the projects I did, especially last year when I was using the reverse transfer method. If you watch Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse, then you absolutely know Paint Couture. Paint Couture is a high-quality, water-based acrylic and urethane paint that is highly favored for its furniture, refinishing, and home decor projects. Known for its superior adhesion, durability, and rich color, it is designed to give a professional, smooth finish with minimal effort. Here's a quick clip of Erin's beautiful work. Please make sure to check out the description box below for a link to her channel and an affiliate link that she has for Paint Couture. There is a difference between the chalk paints and the all-in-one paints. I do prefer the all-in-one paint. The chalk paint ends up for me being very thin. Paint Couture offers a wide range of colors. One thing I do want to mention is that the same name for each of the colors is there, whether it's an all-in-one paint or a chalk paint. That was very different for me, as I was used to a different line that has exact same colors in the two different types of paint, chalk or all-in-one, having different names. I hope that made sense. Anyway, this is an example of the coverage that you will get with that Paint Couture paint. It is actually quite good coverage. I do like it. It is not my favorite of all of the paints that I've used, but it is something that I do enjoy playing around with, especially when I want to paint multiple colors or look into details within a project. I chose this clip because I felt that it gave a good example of the coverage that you will get with even just one coat of this paint. If you see, I did have some IOD ink, it is in stone gray, underneath that it was a mistake project from about a year ago. So here I am painting it over, and it is not bleeding through, and it is covering that stone gray ink very well. Now, when you're looking at cost, this is one of the pricier brands. A 16-ounce container of this paint is $23, and you have to consider the shipping that you will pay. I will say one of the things that I love about this paint, if you look closely, the little feet on the riser are painted with the Luxe metallic paint that I know Erin uses a lot in her projects, and the quality of that paint compared to the metallics that you get from other brands is truly impressive. Debbie Beard from Debbie's Design Diary is the wonderful creator of DIY paint. She brings an incredible amount of unique pizzazz to each of her projects, and the colors that she creates in her paint lines complement her vibrant and unique style. Once I started following a lot of the DIYers on YouTube that are also booth owners and thrift flippers, I really was eager to try out this paint myself. And I have now, I think, gotten at least, I think I have almost every color, or I've tried almost every color in the line. A few things to know about DIY paint. It is a very high quality clay-based chalk style paint. So it is not an acrylic paint, it is a clay-based paint. And it is very durable and also very good for painting a wide variety of surfaces. You can pretty much paint anything with this paint. It is very highly pigmented, and this is a great way to illustrate that. The other thing you'll notice is as I dry it with this heat gun, which you can heat dry it, you just have to be mindful about it so it doesn't crack, but it dries down to a lighter color, but you can bring out that vibrant color back by using any of the sealers. One thing about DIY paint, it must be sealed. So it will be easily reactivated with water. So you do want to make sure that you seal it. But the wonderful thing about the fact that it is so easily reactivated with water is it lends itself to a lot of fun with your painting, as you can do wet distressing and other types of blend techniques. I'm very new to using this paint for blending purposes, but I would recommend you check out Connie from The Painted Photographer. I will link her channel below. She offers wonderful tutorials on how to use this paint. She uses these paints to create the beautiful rice papers in her line. A 16-ounce container of this paint is $24 plus shipping. Dixie Belle is a paint line that I wasn't as familiar with until Julie from Julie's Designs and Signs started selling it on her website. It is a popular high-quality chalk mineral paint that is known for its ease of use, versatility, and professional grade finishes. Now, this is a paint that comes in a wide variety of colors, and this is the paint that I was mentioning has different names for the paints that are in their all-in-one line, which is called their silk line, and the chalk mineral paint. And the reason I wanted to mention that is because I noticed after purchasing a few from each line that there are equivalents for many of the paint colors in the chalk line in the silk line. Pricing tends to run very similar to DIY paint at $24 for a 16-ounce container. I have seen some other options available on Amazon. On to the paint brand that started my journey, Country Chic Chalk Paint. This is not a paint that I see a lot of YouTubers, at least ones that I follow, use very often. However, it was the very first paint that I ended up using, and honestly, it was because I could not find a chalk paint on Amazon except for this. And I lied. I had a couple other ones that I had tried and they were awful, and this one I found and I loved it, and it was actually what I used to paint the furniture in my master bedroom. It's an excellent paint, and the only reason I don't use it as often is just because I started experimenting with other kinds of paint. Pricing is very similar, $25 plus shipping for a 16-ounce container. Last but definitely not least is Fusion Mineral Paint. I love Fusion, and I'm sure that you know that if you have watched any of my videos this past year. This is a paint that is, I believe that it is made in Canada, but it is sold in Canada and in the US. And it is a rather expensive paint, which is why it's probably not the most popular choice for many DIYers. However, it is very durable, very versatile, and it offers a lot of variety in colors and also different additional options, which I'm not getting into today because a lot of the different paint lines do. One thing I wanted to mention about Fusion is that it is a all-in-one paint, which means it is going to be a paint that you cannot wet distress, and it's not as good with blending. However, this, as well as all of the paints that I've reviewed today, are able to be mixed to create new colors. So that is something to consider when you are looking at paints. As far as price is concerned, this is the most pricey of all of the ones that I've reviewed today. However, I will tell you that this paint will go a long way. Many times I can paint just one coat and possibly two coats if I'm covering up something dark or repainting over another color. And I will tell you that it really does give a wonderful finish. If you go to my website, you can find a digital download that is free. How to Choose Paint. It offers a review of all of the paints that I talked about in today's video. You can download this. It is a PDF. You can save it to your phone, save it to your computer, and just take notes on it if you'd like to. If you want to kind of continue your own ideas of what you feel to be a good or not so great feature of each of the paints or any other paints that you may use. Ultimately, finding the perfect paint really depends on you as a crafter. What are you looking for? Are you on a budget? And what do you want it to be able to do for you? I hope you found today's video very useful. I will be back again with some thrift flips very soon, but I wanted to let you know that I've recently updated my website with a lot of new products as I am organizing and setting up my craft space for 2025. So go ahead and check it out. Don't forget, 30% off the 30th of every month. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.